Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Friday night here at the College Carball Association. Time for CRL. And back with you again, Hunted and Squid. Squid, they liked us so much last night, we're back again.
I think there might be other reasons than that. I feel like it was pretty good last night, but I'm glad to be back regardless, with you, Hunted, of course. Here to round out this entire season of league play for the CRL here on the B Stream.
And it's going to be a fun night tonight, just like last night. First match of the day, OSU Gray versus Penn State. And we were talking about it before the broadcast. This is an important matchup for both teams.
Oh, it certainly is. If you want to take a look at the standings, hit up !bracket in the chat because it is a wild ride here if Penn State wants to get that last playoff spot. OSU Gray, by winning this match here, will eliminate Penn State from contention. So if Penn State win this, it's going to be a long road back. They need a lot of stuff to happen. I think it's like 3 teams need to lose their games for the remainder of the season, and a couple of them still have a lot of outstanding matches to be played.
And it's not just the fact that OSU Gray could knock out Penn State here. They are also trying to win this to secure life of their own in the playoffs. It's not by any means secure for them. I think they're actually sitting just outside the top 8 now. They've got to win this, and I think they have one more game after that. They're coming in 6-6. So if they win this, they win the next one. That should hopefully give them some momentum and secure that top 8 spot. But first things first, you've got to beat Penn State. We watched Penn State last night. They went to 5 games, but still, they looked like a pretty solid team. They could give OSU Gray a challenge.
And they have been a dangerous roster in the past as well. So this best of 5 is going to be a grueling gauntlet for both sides. OSU Gray also directly competing with OSU Scarlet for a spot as well, but it looks like we have our first match ready to go. So without much further ado, let's kick off this night of Rocket League, and let's get things underway. Once again, Penn State playing off against the Gray team for OSU. This is going to be an exciting one, Hunted.
That it will be. It looks like game number 1 is now underway. OSU Gray in blue, Penn State in orange. We're going to kick things off with Penn State getting a little bit of some offensive pressure. Threes. Pops this one up, looks for the clear back into the zone. Cam Bam, important to note, is subbing in for Tennis Master for Penn State. And, you know, if you are a Penn State fan, that's not the best news. Tennis Masters is a solid player for this Penn State team. He's been in the lineup for a long time. You're going to miss that experience.
Absolutely, and we got to see a little bit of a taste of what he can bring to the table last night, and he certainly was a force to be reckoned with. He seems to be contending for it now. Still 0-0, but only 45 seconds off of the clock, and this, the OSU roster we didn't get to see yesterday. Of course, we're going to be seeing the OSU Scarlet roster later tonight. But the Gray team, also known for their passing ability. Nothing happening yet, though. Just a relatively slow play. No significant shots on net. That's actually going to be the first one that's registered on the board.
Well, this one's going to bounce around in front. Gray looked to clear it away. There's Shiro. He can't quite get there. Prow. Solid touch. Going to bounce all the way back. Cam Bam to collect. Goes by 3s. Prowls. We'll try to play this one on remonstration. Didn't get a chance to see him last night either, Squid. Also in the lineup for Penn State tonight. We'll see how he does. Here's Frau with a chance. Kings to clear it away, and 3s will come in support.
You're right, we didn't get to see remonstration, but we did not get to see Shiro either, who will put up the first mark. Ohio State on the transition, getting this passing play put up.
It's 1-0 for OSU Gray. Shiro actually collects that very well. He was in perfect position for that pass, and it was a great one from Kings. Completely handcuffed the Penn State lineup. That will give Gray the early advantage here in game number 1. We'll see how they can run with that. Again, an all-important series. Both teams really need this win if they want any hope of making the top 8. Penn State more so, but still an important game for OSU Gray. 2 minutes into the game. It's been a rather slow start, I would say here, but 1-0 lead for OSU nonetheless.
And it did come off of that one passing play, almost a second one put up there by 3s on the solo. Didn't end up working out, but it is nice to see Threes and Kings been playing together for so long in the CRL, bringing Shiro on as the third. Seems to be working rather well for them thus far. And they did manage, once again, that first passing play goal. But as you mentioned, rather slow game. It seems like we're still in the feeler out phase for the time being.
Here's Remonstration down in front. Shiro makes the play. Solid touch from Kings. We'll see to it that it gets clear. He does get demoed in the process. Cam Bam over Shiro. You just mentioned Shiro and how good he's looked. He's been quite aggressive so far early on in this game, as per usual for this OSU Gray team. They haven't had the best season, have Gray. They've had their ups and downs, but all in all, Squid, I think they've been a rather consistent team, and once they get clicking on the offensive side of the ball, they look pretty scary.
That is definitely the case, and Kings actually over top of 2 here. Could be a dangerous opportunity. Cam Bam's going to throw it off the back wall. Threes now into center, and almost gets by the defender, but not quite into the net. Bit of an interesting play, to say the very least, but nothing too punishing for Penn State. Getting blocked out at the midfield line here might be trouble. Threes now across the center, but again, no support. And they'll have to return to their own defensive half.
Shiro over top of Cam Bam will end up back in the OSU gray zone. There's Remonstration, hits a crossbar, it's out in front. Cam Bam open net, he'll score. We're tied up at 1 with 1:18 to go.
An excellent shot placement here from Remonstration, coming out of the corner, beating Threes, and the man in net had no choice on that one. Had to try and get up for it to make the defensive play. Excellently done, and Cam Bam there for the backup. Shiro coming in as the late third man, but when you got 2 people out there on the defense, you gotta have faith in those players. So honestly, I don't blame him.
Faith. Get back to bite them a little bit there. Cam Bam, what a move underneath the defender. And just like that, Penn State claw their way back. They've got the lead with just over 60 seconds left.
And a couple of great 50-50s at that. Remonstration. First up high, dropping that one straight down into the midfield where it was playable. Excellent play overall. Cam Bam going to clean up on that one, as you mentioned. They're playing more of the offense than, honestly, I initially expected. Again, Threes and Kings having played together for so long, and I know their passing potential is through the roof. Just getting outplayed in this game.
Well, Kings deflects into the corner. Final 50 seconds on the clock now. Remonstration looking for Cam Bam. Threes will block that away, and that's a bit of a double commit. They could be caught here if Shiro can hustle. Good read from Frau to keep that in mid. This is going to waste a little bit of time, but they got to be careful they don't give up the ball. Kings will win that 50. So here we go in the orange corner. Out in front. Threes won't get around to it. The final half minute on the clock. Game number 1. The all-important first game of a very, very important series. As this is out in front, Kings scores. Careless with the ball as Penn State on defense, and we're tied.
And a huge clear there from Threes, forcing Remonstration to get off and back to the races. Just get out to your own side, but Kings has a beat on it from the very start. And not many touches that Remonstration can realistically make to try and get that one away from the net. So Kings just being there to punish a great force by Ohio State. Honestly, a little bit of a far-fetched effort, but it worked out in the end.
Now we'll have to find out which of these teams will get that golden goal to give them victory in game 1. Here's Kings with a chance. Just puts it down in front of the box. No follow-up from Threes, as now Remonstration can't find the clear. Crowd will go off the top. That will hit the turf. And it's 2-2 in overtime, game 1.
I'm not sure if I'd have it any other way. We knew this was going to be a close series, but honestly, this might be a little bit more than I bargained for. Kings denied just before the crossbar there by Cam Bam, who has honestly been a standout player so far this game. Coming in as a sub. 2 goals, 4 assists so far, or sorry, 4 saves.
He has fit quite well into the offense of this team, but he's got to do it again. As you said, he's already got 2. Would love a hat trick in this game if he can make it work. Cam Bam plays this into the corner. Shiro back towards his own net. Gives Kings some fits on the goal line. Frau looking for Cam Bam. Kings to challenge, but Remonstration's there to play it on. Out of the corner comes Cam Bam. Doesn't get the touch. Threes will eventually find the clear. Now Penn State have to hustle back.
Remonstration wisely playing that third man in a safe position. Trying to respect his teammates' ability to push up. Shiro might be late to that ball. Barely beats Rem on that one. Close call for Ohio State. And they have seemed to have a bit of a weak back line in the third man rotation, I will note. So it's kind of worrying to see almost.
We've played just about a minute and a little bit in overtime as Rem goes up for this ball. Prowling around for a defender to demo, doesn't quite find anything. Cam Bam will keep the ball in the zone. Prowl looking for a touch out in front. Kings will get there easily, but Rem is there to meet him in mid. A lot of pressure in the blue half this overtime period, but Penn State has not been able to score on the back of it. Got to wonder if that's starting to get a little bit frustrating for the orange side.
And it does look like Ohio State. And the Buckeyes are trying to find any way to push out as is. I saw Three just a moment ago getting a nice challenge and ended up passing it straight downfield. You can tell they're looking for a transitional play to start up the entire offense. Somewhere they've been very dangerous in the past, and their first goal came from almost a goal there. Shiro and Threes diving across for that one. Another banger on the net, and Threes is there to meet it. The back line certainly has strengthened since I last mentioned it.
Well, we've passed the 2-minute mark into overtime now. Still, we play on, tied at 2 as Frau makes the save up towards his teammate and Cam Bam on the sidewall. He'll go over top of Threes. It has been clinical from Penn State, the amount of ball control they've had here in this overtime session. They have just not been able to crack the defense yet. Threes passes it over to Kings. Frau, odd touch. It's going to give Shiro something to think about. He's looking for Threes back down in front. Shot on goal, good save by Rem. Coming across the goal mouth. We continue to play on as we look towards the 3-minute mark now in overtime.
Such an even game, and it's not only represented by the scoreboard. I'm looking at 2 goals, 2 assists, and an almost even save count on both sides. Kings coming in for the dive and play to keep Frau out of the net. But Penn State not done yet. Frau's going to push this issue. Shiro gets it up to Kings, and again, a transitional play so strong. They managed to put that one together, fortunately, for Penn State. Rem on the backboard to make it happen, and Shiro actually getting beaten the 1v1, and Rem has a completely open net. Kings can't get there in time.
Penn State, the pressure finally pays off for them. This time it comes in a transitional play over top of the first defender, and as you said, just enough speed on that one to get by the last man back. And, you know, Penn State, they had that lead towards the end of the game. They lost it in the final moments. It really would have been a heartbreaker if they would have lost this game in overtime, but they did not panic in the slightest. It was, like I said, it was clinical from them all throughout that overtime period, keeping possession of the ball, and it eventually paid off. It took them a while, but they made it work.
Yeah, they did a great job. Again, I was talking about how Ohio State, they were really looking for any opportunity that they could get to find a teammate downfield and make a transitional play, but they just never had the chance. You talked about it just a moment ago. Penn State, with such solid control of the ball, really cut off any sort of passing lanes that the Buckeyes had looking downfield, and eventually the defense cracked. You can see so many saves, totaling 10 between the 3 players on the blue side of the ball, but, you know, defense isn't going to win you in overtime. You got to score at least that one time. And honestly, Penn State, again, I'm going to call it out. Cam Bam coming in as a sub, quote unquote. I mean, Tennis Master is strong, but Cam Bam is he's filling the shoes quite nicely, I'll say.
Yeah, absolutely. He has played a lovely game. 2 goals to his name, 4 saves and 4 shots in that game. You mentioned the 10 saves for OSU. Penn State put up 9 saves of their own. So certainly a defensive battle there in game number 1. It goes all the way to 3.5 minutes or so in overtime, and it was a Game 1 victory for Penn State. Again, we cannot overstate, Squid, how important this series is to these teams.
Whichever team loses, this will be in a much worse spot. I mean, for Ohio State, they'll be in a really bad spot trying to get to that playoffs, but Penn State will just be completely out of it if they lose here. And again, granted, they've already got enough worries with if they do win, but holy cow, Kings, the pinch, and mid just falls right into the net.
Yeah, this is a good play from Shiro. The pass is great to Kings, and it gets up just in time to get a pretty fortunate touch off of Rem, who goes up to challenge him. It eventually finds its way in the back of the net. And while we get started with Game 2, Squid, I do want to make sure that everybody knows, use the hashtag CRL19 on Twitter. Tweet at us your thoughts. Cheer for your favorite team, and we can put your tweet up here on stream tonight. Make sure you do that. Game 2 is underway. Penn State a 1-0 lead in the series, but they find themselves down 0-1 early on.
They haven't had an opportunity to play the offense that we saw from the last game. Ohio State pushing out once more. Makes you wonder if they're going to try and change the pace of this game. Actually, no shots on target yet, regardless of the 1 goal on the board. A bit strange there, but Kings with an infinite shooting percentage right now. I have to say that's pretty impressive, if I do say so myself.
Approach the minute mark here in game number 2. Small touch towards the corner. Kings will try to clear it away. Cam Bam looking for an opportunity. They get the double touch, not quite. Can't get there in time. Shiro will find the clear. And the game has slowed down rather considerably after that pretty high energy overtime period. The first goal coming the first 6 seconds off a kickoff play off the ceiling. Since then, it's been quite the defensive battle, as we would expect. Ram out of the corner. Cam Bam has a chance for a shot. Doesn't quite get the angle he was looking for. But here's the Penn State offense starting to ramp up.
And it almost seems like a mirror image of the last game. You talked about how we had such a high-intensity overtime. Almost feels like both teams were so relieved to have this reset for game number 2 that that intensity just dropped right back to the levels we saw at the beginning of the series, Hunted. So I'm not necessarily surprised by this, but at the same time, I would fear for Ohio State because Penn State, as you mentioned, they're getting their offense set up here, and they've been pretty dangerous thus far.
Here's Cam Bam. He's looking for a touch out in front. Actually gets on the wrong side of the ball there. A little handcuff Rem as now Frau has to try to keep the ball in. Does well to beat Threes to it. I believe Threes got the boost, though. He's trying to use it now to beat Cam Bam. Can't do it. Here comes out of the corner. Kings to push it along. Rem to keep it in. We approached halfway mark in game number 2. Still a 1-0 lead for OSU Gray. Penn State has been buzzing in the offensive zone, but they haven't really found any shots. Only one registered to either team in this game, and funny enough, it's the team who hasn't scored a goal yet.
Strange how that works, but it's been about half the game now, as you said. And no shots for Ohio State. Again, they had that one goal, but I really think that the one thing we should focus on, they haven't really been playing offense. They seem rather contented on their own half of the field here. I don't necessarily blame them, but again, you know, a lot of their strength comes from their attacking ability. So I'm looking to see if they try and bring out more of that to secure some insurance here as we move into the late game.
Minute 50 to go. Threes out of the Penn State corner. Cam Bam will turn him around. Demonstration trying to beat Shiro to that ball. Not going to work. Kings has a shot. He'll score. Sharp angle. That puts OSU up by 2.
And not making this clear off the backboard is really what made this play possible. Frau getting caught out just a little bit far forward, moving up on that play. And the last man back is going to have a hard time reading that. Kings coming out of the corner, taking the assist from Shiro, and again, gaining that insurance that they wanted. 2 shots on the board now, and 2 goals. Kings still shooting somehow higher than he has shots on target. I don't understand how that works, but the man's a legend, I guess. That's the way it goes.
2 goals.
I scored 2 goals with 1 shot. That's an old West kind of thing right there.
Well, hey, he will take them as they come. It is now 2-0 in favor of OSU. Penn State, they've had the offense, but they haven't been able to put anything in the back of the net in this game thus far. We'll see if things change with just about a minute 5 left to go. Out of the corner comes Rem. Kings tries to challenge him, but it's going to find its way towards Cam Bam. He's got Rem in support. Doesn't get by Threes, though. He's a little bit late to try to push that ball forward, although Frau now gets by 2. Shiro, last man back, has to make the play. Individual effort was good from Penn State, but still they haven't been able to crack the nut. That is OSU Gray.
Oh, but here's an opportunity. Shiro getting that backward goal and sending it so far away as well, just in front of the goal line. And one thing I noticed, Hunted, so far Penn State, they're putting shot after shot on net, but they're not controlling the in-between, in the interim, in between those shots, it seems. And Shiro, another goal line save, sending that one away. And again, you know, with the lack of possession in between the shots that they're managing to take, it really provides OSU an opportunity to reset and take as much time as they need to get ready for the next defense.
Cam Bam had a golden opportunity to put a goal on the board for his team, and he put it right into the defenders. Going to want that one back as his team will drop. Game number 2, final score 2-0, and the series now all knotted up going into game 3.
And definitely a good response for the Ohio State Gray team. The Kings didn't end up with a plus 100%, I guess, shooting accuracy. which kind of disappoints me, to be honest. I wanted to see that happen, but I'm not good with math, so I suppose that would kind of hurt my brain. In any case, I have to say, impressive stuff for Ohio State all around. You talked about the Penn State offense. They were out there, they were being aggressive, and they had basically all of the ingredients. But again, if they can't maintain possession and really pressure the Ohio State defenders into making mistakes like they did in game 1, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I worry about really the longevity of the strategy for Ohio State. Granted, it felt like Penn State were doing what they wanted on the offensive side, and OSU just didn't have time to transition into offense. But if you are going to play the majority of your time in your own zone, eventually these shots are going to start going in from your opponents. Again, Cam Bam had a beautiful opportunity. He had the whole left side of the net to shoot at, and unfortunately, he misplaced it right at the goaltender. Those are the kind of shots at this caliber that are going to start finding their way in, and you're going to have to be battling from behind or getting tied at the late stages of the game. I would really love to see OSU start to push their way forward instead of letting everything come to them.
Yeah, I mean, to that extent, it almost seems like they're just kind of letting the waves crash against the shore instead of actually, actively taking an effort, or making effort, rather, in order to secure the game win. Obviously, they had the 2 goals at the end of regulation, but one of them was just a freebie right off of the face-off in the beginning. So they're not putting in the same amount of effort that we used to see out of the Ohio State roster. Well, I guess both of the Ohio State rosters. I'd like to see them pull out more of that, and they might have a chance right here. Right off the face-off, Kings puts one by the last man, and they've got the lead.
And deja vu, game number 2 starts with an early goal from OSU Gray, and it was Kings in that one. It's Kings again, this time taking his time a little bit, 20 seconds in, but still OSU Gray. They get on the board first. It was a solid pass from Freeze to Kings. Now they're going to play with the lead. We'll see how Penn State respond. They were not able to score in the 5 minutes of regulation time in the last game. Going to need to change that now. Shiro had a chance, but he whiffed on it.
And they have to call off somebody on that ball. Looked like Freeze wanted his attempt at a double touch there. But Shiro also wanted that ball. No communication, and then a miss on the transition from Penn State. Looked like they had a golden opportunity. Granted, it was a tough angle. They would have much liked that equalizer. At the very least, I think for Ohio State's sake, looks like they're trying to get more aggressive. Now another third man diving at the midfield line for Ohio State. Lucky that one didn't get tossed towards the net, but Penn State move out onto the offense. Cam Bam, not the greatest touch. Pass from Kings to Shiro, and that is textbook 1-2 in the infield.
You talk about using the numbers to your advantage. Kings realize it's a 2-on-1. Beautiful pass to Shiro, and all he has to do is hit it hard. And he does just that. 2-0 now for OSU Gray. Transitional plays working to their advantage, and this is eerily similar to what we saw in game number 2. Will Penn State be able to reverse their fortune? That's a great way to start. Rem goes top shelf off the demo from Frau, and it's 2-1.
And this was total control from Penn State. There was never a doubt in their mind about what was happening during this play. Cam Bam receiving the pass from Frau down in the midfield. That wasn't even close to being a shot on target. Frau knew exactly where that ball was supposed to go. Right up to Cam Bam, beat out the defender on the back wall, down to Rem, who knew exactly where to place that ball and what to do with it. As Frau took out the last defender in the net. My goodness, so many elements of one single play. Gosh, I could talk about that for at least a minute.
Certainly a wonderfully put together play for Penn State. There's an opportunity now. Great block from Frau. Nearly an identical play from OSU to try to put one in the back of the net, but now Rem off the back wall scores. We're tied up at 2. Another beauty from Penn State.
And Cam Bam coming off the ceiling, getting that one extra touch. Shiro can't make the challenge as a result, and it gives Rem all the room that he needs to set that one up onto the back wall for himself. Once again, perfectly executed play by Penn State. The coordination is suddenly off the charts. What has happened? They've transformed. The monitors have been turned on, Hunted.
That they have, and like I said, they were shut out in the last game. They have changed their fortunes here in game number 3. They've tied things up with 3 minutes to play. Next goal, very important, and again, it's Penn State pressing the attack. That's a double commit. They've got to be careful. Luckily, Frau wins that 50, but 2 double commits back to back. Almost turned into another double commit. Rem was thinking about it. But will they get punished for it? There's threes. He'll score. They absolutely will, Squid. That is the danger of a breakdown of communication on offense.
Watch right there at the beginning of that replay. Shiro taking out one player, forces Cam-Bam to try and scramble for that ball. Just didn't have what it took, but you're very right. Not having that coordination on offense. We've now seen the two polar opposite versions of Penn State. The version where they literally have all three of their members involved with the play and they're doing everything by the books, incredibly quick, and make the goal happen, and the version where they throw two players at the ball 3 times in a row. There's apparently no in-between for Penn State right now.
We'll have to see if they can find a happy medium between the both. Score another one to try to tie us up. They've got 2:13 to do so if they want to force overtime. Prow beats threes on that play. It goes right to Kings, however, and he'll send it back down. He's going up for another touch. That's just off the mark. Turned into a good opportunity for Kings. He couldn't quite put it in. And now this gives OSU some time on the offensive side. Rem out to Prow, who tries to bump it around threes. Not quite going to get the job done. Cam-Bam comes in support. Now Prow into the sidewall. Here's Cam-Bam out of the corner looking for a touch. Kings easily reads that one, and he'll find it clear.
And I have to say, considering the quality of play that we saw in the very beginning of this game, it seems to have tapered off to a certain degree. What with Penn State having one particular error a little while ago that ended up giving them a deficit here in Game 3, and Ohio State not capitalizing on the opportunity they had a while ago with Kings missing what was effectively an open net. I'm going to reiterate that the quality of play seems to have dropped, and there's Kings missing another open net. Threes gets denied by Rem, making a good hustle back to the net. But I'm going to point it out, Kings is not one to miss these kinds of shots.
Certainly not, but you've got to give props to Rem. That was a potentially game-saving play that he made to force that follow-up shot from threes wide. We'll see if Penn State use that to their advantage and try to tie us up. They've only got 42 seconds left. Kings the clear. Cam-Bam tries to control. He's got to deal with Kings. Goes around wide. And we'll take it up the sidewall. Shiro, last man back. He'll touch it into the corner. Cam-Bam tries to deal. Now Prow with an opportunity, but it goes right off of threes. This could find its way into the goal. It will. Penn State come up short on offense, and it's 4-2 for Gray.
And it seems they were never able to recover from their double commit issue with all 3 players in the attacking half. 3 sends that one downfield, and there's nobody even in the neighborhood of the Penn State net, save for those in blue. And with only 23 seconds left, it might be over. Penn State opting for a fake kickoff, I believe. Prow looked like he was searching for it, but it didn't work out in the end. They've got very little time now, and they have to put a mark up on the board as soon as possible. This one moving out to center. Rem with a chance, puts it on target to the upper left. No, up the crossbar and away. And Shiro touches it to the corner. That looks like it's gonna be the end of the game. Unless...
That's gotta be frustrating.
0 seconds. They don't even get that one either. Drops right in front of the goal line.
It's a frustrating way to end the game for Penn State there. I mean, crossbar, you expect that kind of play to go in. Unfortunately, it doesn't work, and now you drop the second game in a row. You find yourself down in the series while it looked so promising after game 1. All of a sudden, you're down 2-1 in the series. You've got to bounce back for game 4.
And I think I'm going to harp on this one more time. What exactly happened in this game? Okay, because we saw the first phase, OSU earning some early game goals, which honestly we're not that unfamiliar with at this point. The second little bit of that, Penn State just came on the offense and they decided like, hey, we're going to score some goals for a minute and a half. And then after that, they just dropped off. They dropped off the face of the earth. What happened? It was basically this transition from we're not doing much to we're doing literally everything to we're not doing anything.
Yeah.
What in the world happened? What is this?
Well, if you remember from last night, Penn State had an issue where they got to a game 5 and it just everything kind of fell apart there once they got there. And I have a feeling that that's something that they struggle with as a team in general. Of course, we're not in the comms. We're not there playing every night. So you don't know what exactly it is. And of course, Cam-Bam being a sub coming in could be a different dynamic for them as well. But it does feel like they have a little bit of issue with finishing these games off. And I think that goes exactly to what the point you were trying to make is that Penn State, they looked great, but they've got to finish the game.
And this is the thing about inconsistency in Rocket League. It's that, certain players, they'll play fantastically for periods of time. They'll have, really bad moments for a good while. We're seeing that entire cycle out of a single roster within a complete regulation 5 minutes of Rocket League, which is entirely confusing to me. If they can just bring out the Penn State that annihilates the enemies when it comes to beating them on the offensive side, they're coordinated, they're effective in just about every way. They're making the boost steals, they're making the challenges in the midfield. If they can bring out that team for the next 10 minutes of regulation, they can take this series easily.
Well, they haven't given up a goal yet. That was the bane for them, and as soon as I say that, a slow roller finds its way in, and now they've got to play from behind yet again.
And Kanban, Rem, double commit on the back wall. It's gonna end that way. At this level of play, you can't afford to be doing that. But if you're going to screw up in such a way, get it out of the way early, and they have done so. 45 seconds is the only time that they've lost before that goal was scored, so there's still very good opportunity here, a good chance for them to bring this one back within reach. They're back on the defense once again. Kings with the cross threes. No follow-up touch there. He's going to have to play into his own backfield, but it will be a delivery straight to Kings, who touches off the ceiling. Nicely done to stall. PSU, nobody with boost to the midfield line. It's just going to sail towards the net. Rem can't get back in time, and Shiro gets credit for the goal.
Little bit of overzealousness, it looked like, from the Penn State squad there. Everybody moving up, thinking they had the offense that was about to start, but Shiro makes them pay for it. He's got 2 goals on 2 shots now, and we've only played about 1 minute and 15 here in game number 4. This is not a good look if you're Penn State. Although they did come back from a 2-0 deficit in the last game, they did it in spectacular fashion, and they're going to have to do another solid job to get back again.
And for Penn State, regarding that last play, I respect that they want to move out onto the offense and they want to start getting into the groove of this game. But sometimes you just have to concede that the enemies have cleared the ball. You don't got to commit that hard for an offense. You're going to have other opportunities. But, as you mentioned, they've come back from worse. We'll see if they can do so here. Shiro going to launch this one towards the back wall. Kings looking for an aggressive read, it looks like, but no dice, as it will drop off to the corner.
3 minutes are on the clock now. 2 minutes have expired in game number 4. And again, cannot overstate how important this series is for Penn State. This is a must-win series if they want any hope of making top 8. That almost goes in. Cam Bam pushed it wide. The opportunity for Penn State, and that has got to be frustrating.
That one's definitely hurting. But at least, for Cam... Oh, that's not going to be good. Shiro actually places that one wide as well, so eye for an eye. But either way, Cam Bam, it was something of a difficult read. He had to be speedy coming off that side wall and make the right choice, but it's still going to be a bit of a heartburn. A little bit of an aching feeling in the stomach after that one. Approaching the 2-minute mark, and they need to put 2 on the board. This might be a chance for him out of the corner, denied by Kings. Has a beat on that one from the get-go. Nobody there to follow it up. Three is going to launch this one downfield.
The rotation starting to look a little bit better now from Penn State on the offensive side of the ball. Threes and Frau demo each other. This could buy some time for Penn State to get things working. Frau has a chance! Good save from Shiro. Keeps them off the board still, as threes will find the clear. But again, this is a much better offensive rotation. They just need to score with at least some time remaining.
Even so, they had one shot coming right after the other, but Rem, all the way in the back for boost, allowed for that clear. Ohio State is more than capable of dealing with 2 shots in succession. After all, they've got 3 players on the field. Assuming that only 2 of them have boost, that's plenty more than enough. You've got to just be aggressive as possible. This last minute of gameplay, which is rapidly approaching as Kings controls out of his backfield. Touch from Rem, but his teammate bumps. He's going to have to go up for it again. Manages it. That's a great pass in the center, but Kanban doesn't have the read. Frau has to play it out of the corner again. No contact made. It almost feels like Penn State is struggling with the panic here.
They've only got 50 seconds left. They need to put something in the back of the net with at least some time remaining. Good save by Kanban to keep the game going. They'll try to push this into the corner. Comes off the corner wall. Threes to deflect it. Now Frau along the back wall. Kings to clear. Final 30 seconds quickly approaching now. Shiro along the corner. He can't get by Cam Bam. Frau is there to harass the defenders, but nothing doing now for Penn State. Final 20 seconds. Still need 2.
Oh, and they don't need 3 either, though. The presence of mind keeping the opponents out. Their playoff lives are on the line right here in the final 10. They have to get one on this offensive right here. Good tap up from Cam Bam. Proud for the follow. Can't put it on target. Rem is still in the zone, but can't gain control. The final second ticks off the clock in the orange half, and Ohio State's gray squad has secured this game for victory.
Man, that, you talk about frustrating. You talk about being snake bit. I mean, 2 different opportunities in this game. Clear as day would be goals. And they can't put the ball in. If both of those goals go in, guess what? We're tied, going into overtime. And it's heartbreaking. I mean, it hurts just to watch. I mean, an absolutely wide open goal for Cam Bam with about 2-3 minutes left, and then that final play just off the post. You got to put those in the net when you get those opportunities, and unfortunately for Penn State, it's going to cost them their season.
And I feel like almost hunted that on a different day, this Penn State squad could have taken down the Ohio State Buckeyes roster that appeared today. But I have to give credit where credit's due. The story isn't all about Penn State. Their season is over for them, unfortunately. But the Ohio State gray roster now moving their record to 7-6 with 2 more matches to be played this season. They can still have a very real chance of getting in now to the playoffs. Of course, it's very hotly contested. We're not going to go through all the standings right now, but if you want to see them, make sure to use !bracket, and you can go take a look at them for yourselves. But my goodness, I have to say, with Cam Bam, again, coming in as a sub, it was a gallant effort when Tennis Master wasn't able to make it out here. Penn State still put up a very good show.
That they did, and it was well fought, just like their season. Again, ups and downs throughout the series, and unfortunately, they just couldn't quite pull it off. And, congratulations to OSU Gray. Like you said, that really, really helped them push for that playoff spot. It is so congested in those final spots in the East that it's going to be a slugfest coming down. Every game you win, every point you score is going to be so important, and they have pushed themselves that much closer to qualifying for top 8, and they did it in style. They played their game. It didn't look the best, but they did it the way they wanted to, and it worked. Obviously, they won 3 of the 4 games they just played, and, I would love to know everybody in chat and on Twitter's thoughts about this as well. Use the hashtag CRL19. Let me know your thoughts about that game, because it really felt like Penn State had a chance, like you said, to win this. And somehow, Gray, they weather the storm. They make the plays when it counted, and they take the victory.
And I will say, personally, I'm very excited to see Penn State come back for the next season of CRL. Well-played season to you, gentlemen. Thank you for your performances. And again, a very valiant effort at today's series. But that series is in the past now. I always hate moving on from these. It was such a close matchup. I'd love to talk about it forever. But we have more matches on the horizon. So if you want to see more hashtag CRL19 gameplay, you're in the right place. Coming up next, UCSB for Oregon. More playoff lives are on the line. You won't want to miss it. Stick with us.
He does. Here's Frau with a chance. Kings to clear it away, and Threes to come in support.
You're right, we didn't get to see demonstration, but we did not get to see Shiro either.